Welcome back to Universal Crest TV. Arsenal took on Manchester City at the Etihad in a thrilling showdown. After falling behind early, the Gunners showed incredible resilience, clawing their way back to take a 2-1 lead. It seemed like a heroic victory was within reach, but in the dying moments of the match, City found an equalizer, crushing Arsenal's hopes of a famous win. While the team's effort was commendable, all eyes turned to one player as blame for the last-second lapse began to surface. In a game full of drama and grit, this one mistake became the focal point of the narrative. Leandro Trossard's red card coming just before halftime eerily echoed the dismissal of Declan Rice on the opening day against Brighton. Both incidents occurred within the first 5 Premier League games, a troubling trend that has raised eyebrows among fans and pundits alike. While Rice's sending off sparked debate, with many questioning the harshness of the decision, Trossard's actions left little room for sympathy. His was a moment of recklessness, one that could not be brushed aside or excused. Some might point to Manchester City's Jeremy Doku, who did something similar by kicking the ball away after the whistle, yet faced no consequences. But using that as a defense for Trossard falls short. This wasn't just an unfortunate lapse in judgment, it was a repeat of a mistake that the team had already experienced. Rice's earlier punishment should have served as a warning to every player, yet here we are again, and it's baffling. Trossard knew he was on a yellow card, and in that situation, there is no room for error. Yet, he made the ill-advised decision to make a challenge for the ball in a moment where caution should have been paramount. But what truly compounded the error was what followed: he kicked the ball away after the whistle had blown. This wasn't just a case of clumsiness, it was outright irresponsible. In a game of such fine margins, where every decision could shift the balance, actions like these are catastrophic. It's not just frustrating, it feels almost reckless. When Declan Rice saw red, Arsenal had been leading the game, only to end up settling for a draw. And now, just after fighting back from a goal down to take the lead at 2-1, Trossard repeats the same mistake, jeopardizing the team's hard-fought advantage. These moments are avoidable, unnecessary lapses in discipline that can be easily corrected. But the fact that they keep happening suggests something deeper that needs to be addressed. This isn't just a minor blip, it's becoming a dangerous pattern. These moments of indiscipline are slowly eroding the team's efforts, often at the worst possible times. Arteta must confront this head-on. There's no room for complacency, not in a league where every point matters and every mistake is magnified. These red cards are more than just individual errors, they are costing the team in significant ways. For a club like Arsenal, competing on multiple fronts and aiming for more than just mediocrity, these are the sorts of mistakes that cannot be tolerated. When setbacks occur, it's one thing to blame a piece of bad luck or a contentious decision by the referee. But when the setbacks are self-inflicted, it becomes far more concerning. The team isn't just losing points, they're losing momentum, confidence, and the ability to stay composed under pressure. Every time a player is sent off, Arsenal are forced to play with a numerical disadvantage. It drains energy, tests the squad's depth, and affects the entire dynamic of the game. And all of it is preventable. Trossard's red card wasn't just a momentary lapse. It was symbolic of a broader issue, a failure to maintain discipline when the stakes are high. The players must be more aware, more cautious, more disciplined in how they conduct themselves on the pitch. This isn't just about avoiding red cards, it's about preserving the team's chances in every game. It's about playing smart, making calculated decisions, and understanding the ramifications of every action. In a match where Arsenal had already clawed their way back from a deficit, taking the lead after going a goal down, the team should have been focused on protecting their advantage. Instead, Trossard's moment of madness left them vulnerable once again. There's no excusing it, no justifying it. The frustration isn't just with the referees or the opposition, it's with the players themselves. These errors are completely within their control, and yet they continue to happen. Arteta faces a critical moment as manager. He must address these issues, not just in terms of tactics or game plans, but in fostering a culture of discipline and accountability within the squad. Every player must understand the consequences of their actions, especially in high-pressure situations. The Premier League is unforgiving, and every match has the potential to swing based on one poor decision. If Arsenal are to achieve their ambitions of pushing for silverware, these moments of indiscipline must be eradicated. The team can't afford to keep shooting themselves in the foot. It's a problem that's becoming too frequent to ignore, and unless it's dealt with swiftly, it could end up costing far more than just a few points. These setbacks, while painful, offer an opportunity for reflection and growth. Trossard's red card, much like Rice's before him, should serve as a reminder to the entire squad that nothing can be taken for granted. Discipline isn't just about following the rules, it's about protecting the team's interests, safeguarding their chances, and ensuring that everyone is pulling in the same direction. There is no doubt that Arsenal have the talent to compete at the highest level. But talent alone isn't enough. The mental side of the game, the focus, the discipline, the ability to make smart decisions under pressure, is just as important, if not more so. Arteta and his coaching staff must instill this mentality in the players, reinforcing the importance of discipline and ensuring that these unnecessary mistakes are stamped out once and for all. A 2-2 draw at the Etihad Stadium might initially seem like a reasonable result, especially considering we played a significant portion of the match with just 10 men. However, upon closer inspection, the way we conceded a goal in the dying seconds of the game transforms this result into a bitter disappointment. It's not merely about losing 2 points, it's the mental strain of watching a hard-earned lead vanish at such a critical moment. We battled fiercely to establish that advantage, and to see it slip away feels like a betrayal of our efforts. These late goals do more than frustrate, they chip away at our confidence and morale. As the match unfolded, our team demonstrated remarkable resilience and tenacity. The intensity of the battle was palpable, and our players fought tooth and nail to establish an early advantage. Each tackle, and all our strategic plays, were aimed at not just securing a lead, but also at making a statement. When we finally took that lead, it felt like a culmination of our efforts, a reward for the hard work and dedication displayed on the pitch. Yet, as the clock ticked down and the final minutes approached, the tension in the stadium became increasingly evident. We knew that holding onto the lead would require not just skill, but a steely resolve. It was in those final moments that the game took a cruel turn. A momentary lapse in concentration allowed our opponents to seize an opportunity, and before we knew it, the ball was in the back of the net. The anguish of witnessing that late goal was palpable. It wasn't just the physical act of conceding, it was the emotional weight of what that goal represented. We had fought so hard to build our advantage, only to see it slip through our fingers at the most critical juncture. This isn't merely about the points lost, it's about the psychological impact of such late goals, which can chip away at our confidence and morale. Late goals have a unique ability to haunt players long after the final whistle. They serve as constant reminders of what might have been and can sow seeds of doubt within a team. It's not just about one game, it's about the larger narrative that begins to form around such instances. When a team consistently fails to secure wins after leading, it creates an aura of fragility. Our players, who had battled so valiantly, now face the challenge of overcoming not just the disappointment of this match, but also the creeping sense of uncertainty that such results can instill. In the aftermath of the match, the discussions will inevitably turn to what went wrong. Was it a tactical error? Did we fail to manage the game effectively? Perhaps it was simply a case of bad luck. Regardless of the reasons, the result leaves an indelible mark. The hard-earned lead we fought so valiantly for feels like a cruel joke, snatched away just when we thought we had secured our place in the game. As we reflect on this match, it's essential to recognize the broader implications of our performance. While drawing against a top team in a challenging environment can often be seen as a point gained, the manner in which we conceded diminishes any potential silver lining. The frustration is compounded when considering the effort and determination our players exhibited. They demonstrated an admirable spirit, only to have that spirit undermined by a lapse at the end. What we must focus on now is the mental resilience required to bounce back from this disappointment. The road ahead will not be easy, every player will need to dig deep within themselves to shake off the frustration and doubt that can linger after such an experience. We need to channel this bitter feeling into a source of motivation. The key will be to learn from our mistakes, to ensure that we maintain our focus and composure in future matches. As we move forward, it's crucial that we don't allow this result to define our season. Yes, we've experienced a setback, but within that setback lies an opportunity for growth. We need to cultivate a mindset that can withstand adversity, one that embraces challenges and learns from them. Our players have shown they can compete at the highest level, now it's about finding a way to finish the job, to convert that competitive spirit into consistent results. The pain of losing those 2 points will linger, but it can also serve as a catalyst for change. It can remind us of the importance of focus and discipline throughout the entirety of a match. We must commit to being relentless, ensuring that we stay sharp until the final whistle blows. This season, a pattern has emerged that's both impressive and concerning. Our defenders aren't just playing their traditional role at the back anymore, they're becoming integral to our attack as well. And then there's David Raya, who seems to be single-handedly keeping us alive in crucial moments. While this speaks volumes about the quality and versatility of our backline, it also raises some serious questions about where we're headed as a team. The old saying, attack wins you games, but defense wins you championships carries weight, but what we're witnessing now is taking that idea to a whole new level. It's one thing to expect a solid defense, one that's capable of preventing goals and maintaining structure, but now there's an added layer of responsibility being heaped onto them. They're not only guarding the backline, they're also increasingly relied upon to step up in the final third and contribute to the scoreline. Is this the identity that will define our season? Defenders not just keeping clean sheets, but also scoring goals? It's a trend that's becoming more common, and frankly, a little concerning. Full-backs and center-backs have always chipped in with the odd goal here and there, but now it feels like we're growing dependent on them. And that's where the problem begins. Take David Raya for instance. Time and time again, he's been our savior, pulling off crucial saves that have kept us in games we could have easily lost. Without him, we might have seen a few defeats where we instead scraped by with a draw or even a win. Having a goalkeeper of his caliber is a gift, but it's unrealistic to expect him to save us every single time. There's only so much one man can do, and at some point, we have to question why the attack isn't stepping up. Our defenders, as well as Raya, can only hold the line for so long before cracks start to show. That's not to say our attacking players are performing poorly, but the reality is that we're increasingly relying on defenders to produce the magic that's supposed to come from our forwards. And that shift in balance is putting extra pressure on a group that already has its hands full. When your defenders have to be match winners in addition to being defenders, something's off. Are our forwards being outshined, or is the system itself demanding too much from the backline? It's no secret that to win games, you need goals. But relying on your defenders to deliver those goals is unsustainable in the long term. As commendable as it is to see them stepping up, their primary job is still to defend, not to score. If we continue to depend on them to also handle the attacking responsibilities, we're pushing them beyond their limits. We've got to ask ourselves how long this can last. David Raya has been heroic in goal, but we can't expect him to keep pulling off miracle saves game after game. He's already done more than his share to keep us in tight matches, but relying on his brilliance to bail us out every time is risky. And while it's great that our defenders are stepping into attacking roles, that's a short-term fix, not a sustainable strategy. Over time, the more we rely on them to be both our defensive wall and our attacking spark, the more we risk burning them out. At the heart of this issue is balance. Every team needs a well-rounded attack and defense. Right now though, that balance feels tilted in the wrong direction. Our backline is doing the work of both defenders and forwards, and while that's worked in the short term, it's not a recipe for long-term success. The pressure can't always be on the defense to not only prevent goals, but to create them. At some point, the forwards and midfielders need to step up and relieve the load. This brings us back to the bigger picture. How sustainable is this approach? The more we lean on our defense to deliver in all areas, the more we risk an eventual breakdown. Defenders are the foundation of any team, but they're not the ones who should be regularly deciding games. The forwards are there for that, and if we continue to ask our defense to do too much, we might find ourselves in trouble down the line. It's worth noting that what we're seeing from our defenders is nothing short of remarkable. They've risen to the challenge, showing versatility and grit, often carrying the team through tough spells. But that's not their job. Their primary role is to defend, and when they're forced to do more than that, it's a sign that something else isn't working. We need to rediscover the balance between attack and defense before the strain becomes too much for the backline to bear. The longer we rely on this unsustainable model, the closer we get to a point where it could cost us. A team can only go so far when one area, especially the defense, is tasked with doing the work of both. It's a testament to their quality that they've been able to rise to the occasion, but we can't expect it to last forever. At some point, our attack needs to start shouldering more of the responsibility, allowing the defense to focus on what they do best, keeping the opposition at bay. Riccardo Calafiori's debut, on the other hand, offered a glimpse of what he brings to the squad, a spark of potential that could grow into something vital for us, especially as we push forward into the Champions League. His goal was more than just a moment of individual brilliance, it should serve as a confidence booster, not only for him but for the entire team. His presence on the pitch reflected a sense of calm and maturity, almost as if he had been part of the setup for longer than just a few games. At the Etihad, he looked like he belonged. But as promising as his performance was, there's always room for improvement. Calafiori has plenty of upside, and the only way for him to unlock that potential is by getting more minutes under his belt. The more he plays, the more he'll grow, and that growth will be essential as the season progresses. With him anchoring the left side and Timber taking charge on the right, we're beginning to see a backline that could redefine our defensive approach moving forward. This is a pairing we'll need to familiarize ourselves with, as it could become a regular side in the coming weeks. That brings me to a point I made in one of my earlier videos, where I discussed the implications of having both Ben White and Jurrien Timber vying for the right back position. I left the link to that video in the description if you want to check it out. I said once Calafiori is fully fit and ready to start regularly, we'll see Timber shifted back to his more natural right back role, which would leave White in a difficult position, potentially dropping to the bench. It's not that White lacks ability, far from it. He's a solid player with great versatility. But the difference between him and Timber is noticeable in how they fit into Arteta's system. Timber's skill set aligns more closely with the dynamic roles we need our full-backs to play, especially with the personnel we have available. Calafiori's return to full fitness will likely create a tactical shift, and it's one that Arteta seems to have planned for. As we've seen, Timber is comfortable playing on both sides of the defense, but his best work arguably comes from the right. With Calafiori reclaiming his spot on the left, there will no longer be a need to utilize Timber in that position. The balance and cohesion that this provides to the squad could be a game changer, giving us more stability and fluidity in the back four. White, for all his strengths, may find it harder to justify a starting spot if Timber consistently performs the way he has been. They are similar players in some respects, both strong defensively and capable of getting forward when needed, but their differences lie in how they interpret their roles. Timber offers a bit more flexibility and pace, which complements the way Arteta wants his team to play. It's these subtle differences that could make Timber the preferred choice moving forward. As we navigate the challenges of multiple competitions, having a solid and adaptable backline will be crucial. Calafiori's inclusion gives us a different dimension, one that could make all the difference in high-stakes games, especially in Europe. His ability to read the game and make timely interventions will be invaluable, but equally important is how he gels with the rest of the defense. The chemistry between Calafiori and Timber will be something to watch closely. If they can develop a strong partnership on either side of the pitch, it could elevate our defensive structure to new heights. For now, though, the focus should be on getting Calafiori fully integrated into the squad. He's already shown glimpses of what he's capable of, but consistency will be key. The more he plays, the more he'll improve, and that improvement will ripple through the team. Arteta's vision relies on having players who can adapt and thrive in different tactical setups, and Calafiori seems to fit that mold perfectly. His calmness on the ball and defensive awareness make him an asset, but he'll need to sharpen those qualities further to truly make his mark. Meanwhile, Timber's role in this evolution is just as important. His ability to slot in seamlessly on either flank makes him a versatile tool in Arteta's arsenal. As we've seen, Timber's inclusion over White isn't just a tactical decision, it's a reflection of how the manager wants to shape the team moving forward. With both Timber and Calafiori in the mix, we're building a defense that's not only solid but also adaptable, capable of adjusting to the demands of different opponents. As I mentioned in my previous video, the dynamic between Timber and White will be one to keep an eye on as the season unfolds. Arteta has a difficult decision on his hands, but it's a good problem to have. Competition within the squad pushes everyone to raise their game, and ultimately, that benefits the entire team. White may find himself on the bench more often than he'd like, but that doesn't mean his contributions aren't valued. In a long season, depth is essential, and having players like White ready to step in when needed is a luxury that not many teams have. Even though we left the Etihad with a draw that felt more like a defeat, Arsenal's 10 men fought with grit and determination against a Manchester City side that's widely considered the best attacking team in the world. In a game where many would have expected us to crumble, especially after going down to 10 men, the team showed resilience that can't be ignored. We didn't just hold our ground, we fought for every inch, every tackle, and every loose ball, showing a spirit that defines this squad. What's even more telling is the reaction on the other side. 2 seasons ago, a result like this would have left Pep Guardiola furious. A draw at home against a team down to 10 men would have been seen as a failure. But the way Guardiola celebrated this draw was different. It was almost like he finally sees us as a real threat. He knows now that Arsenal isn't a team you simply brush aside. We're a side you have to fight tooth and nail against, and getting a point from us is now something to celebrate. That reaction from Pep said everything. He no longer looks at Arsenal as just another opponent, but as a legitimate rival, someone who can challenge his City machine at the highest level. The odds were stacked against us from the moment we went down to 10 men. Facing a Manchester City side that boasts one of the most lethal attacks in football, most teams would have been swept aside. Yet, Arsenal showed character in abundance. Despite the constant pressure, despite the relentless attacks, we stayed compact, disciplined, and committed to the cause. Every block, every interception, every clearance was a testament to the heart and resilience running through this squad. Man City, with all their firepower, threw everything they had at us, but we absorbed it. And while it wasn't the win we craved, we forced them to earn their draw in a way that no one expected. There were moments when it felt like we could steal a victory, but in the end, the fight we showed was worth celebrating. This wasn't just a tactical battle, it was a war of wills, and Arsenal proved that we belong on the same stage as the best team in the world. Manchester City knows what it means to face this Arsenal side. They know it's not just another game. We've become a team that can push them to their limits. And that's the real victory here. It's not just about the point we took from the Etihad, it's about the statement we made. Arsenal isn't just here to compete, we're here to challenge. So yes, the draw felt like a loss, but in reality, it was a signal of how far we've come. We took on the best attacking team in the world with 10 men and held them off. We didn't fold. We didn't break. And in doing so, we earned more than just a point, we earned respect. This performance wasn't just about the result, it was about showing the heart, the unity, and the fight that's now synonymous with Arsenal. And if Guardiola's reaction is anything to go by, the rest of the world is starting to see it too. This kind of resilience is what defines a team. It's what sets apart good teams from great ones. And while the draw may have stung in the moment, the bigger picture is that Arsenal has arrived. We're no longer a team to be taken lightly. We're a team that even Guardiola celebrates taking a point from, and that speaks volumes about where we're headed. Can't wait to meet Man City again at the Emirates with a full healthy squad. It's going to be a good one. Till then, that's it for now.